I'm recording now. Welcome, travelers, to Fandom Station. I'm your host, Mavin. This is my co-host, Eve Days, and today we have two special
Hello.
guests. We have Silver and Lemon.
What up?
Hello.
Yeah, y'all can introduce
Silver lemon?
y'all can introduce yourselves. I mean, Silver's always been, it's always been on here like at least one time, and that was our D&D/anime episode. I think we were trying to turn different anime into like maybe potential TTRPG campaigns.
Yeah, if I remember right,
Yeah,
you called me on to share a little bit of
what you do,
expert knowledge, for lack of better terms,
for DMing
regarding
experience.
that idea.
Yeah, like the first time I really played Dungeons and Dragons, he was like the DM for that. So like that's kind of who I go to for DM for like Dungeons and Dragons knowledge. Or
Hey,
just,
don't worry.
or
In
like,
the time since then, I've not gotten better.
oh yeah, so,
That's
so
not true.
my memory of you is it works, I guess. Like
I know it's not
got
true, but I'm gonna play like it is.
I've got there. And Lemon, he's like, I think we also played in that first game I played, Dungeons and Dragons. We were on this. We were a party.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, because weren't you like a crab?
Was I? I don't remember if I was
Yeah.
a crab, but I was definitely maybe a simic hybrid, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, because you had the maracas. I remember now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was just normal Deef. Like that's all I was. Just a regular Deef.
Good old days.
Yeah, back in the day. Lemon knows a lot about Transformers and just other collectibles in general. So
That's me.
that's his expertise. Eve Deeds knows a lot about gaming. You already know that. I mean, if you've been here, I don't know why I'm talking about Eve Deeds like hasn't been here this whole time. But like I was just like,
I'm also good.
yeah, but like we're finally living up to the name of Fandom Station. So many different people, so many different fandoms in here. It's like
You're starting to get yourself a little train car built.
yeah. And I mean, I really feel like I wish I had a niche of my own. I don't. I mean, no. I mean, maybe card games are the best. I feel like I've played maybe like I wouldn't say the most card games, but like I play a lot of some card games. And I know a lot about anime, and that's pretty bad. But I feel like I don't have any expertise of my own. But I know. But then again, Silver games a lot too. Lemon games.
Hey, sometimes not being an expert in something, but just doing a bunch of littles,
Yeah.
being kind of good in a bunch of things is sometimes better.
Yeah, I have a lot of like small trivia facts that I know, but they're never really important.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm about the same way.
Yeah. But this episode, kind of random. But I thought it'd be cool to talk about comic books, because I feel like I've been watching less and reading more over time, and especially if they tell you how many Manuel have you read in the last month?
Oh fuck. It's been like at least 10. Yeah, I think it's definitely been at least 10 months.
Yeah.
I've read a lot.
Yeah.
An insane amount.
Yeah, he realized he had a gift for like just spending so many hours and reading Manuel.
All right, hold on a damn second.
Yep, spending so many hours.
Congratulations, you're a no life.
I didn't ask. I'm sorry I'd say it like that. I mean, he has a gift in being able to like read so quickly. Like honestly, he does read very fast. You mentioned, oh, I'm reading this, and then the next 2 days.
God, I could never.
Affectionate.
And he's like, he'll say he was reading something and then 2 days later, it was like, oh yeah, I finished it. I'm like, can you give me some time to catch up? Like, you just recommended it to me, and then you already finished, and moving on to the next thing. I'm like, okay. At a certain point, I was like, okay, maybe I'll check out some of these, and I was like, I'll just wait till he stops for a bit.
As long as there's... yeah, that's the vibe I get. It's like Evil Deeds, as long as there's some kind of visual element to it, can just destroy some kind of media.
Yeah, like video
Light
games.
speed.
Like video games as well. Would be like metaphor or Fantasia lately. Yeah.
Probably give him like a novel on like FNAF floor and show him to the book club.
I think I've said this before.
I would actually, if there was a something for FNAF, I would read it.
I think there is.
Well,
Is it?
I'm glad to inform you, Deeds. There are many FNAF books.
I did not know that.
It's probably really expensive to try and collect them all and get into it, but they are plentiful in existence.
Yeah, I feel like I've experienced most of the media I will consume for a long time. Like I feel like I'm not getting into a lot of new media. I'm just kind of, I got my classics, my things I'm comfortable with. I really don't want to invest into too much anything more right now. Like I just want to stick to that, you know. Only care to.
I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to branch out from the stuff I'm comfortable with, but also like I'm notoriously just like take forever to get started.
Oh, speaking of things taking a long time to get started, I just realized we need to go into the news and like actually discuss the topic of this episode. Oh yeah,
I know how
so
to make a transition.
yeah, so we're gonna be talking about comic books because like as I before we got on reading into like reading stuff. That's like what I do a lot. What Eve does a lot, and not just comic books, but also comic books from different countries like manhwa, and manga, and then comic books here, and then even indie stuff like that we have over here as well. So that would be cool. But first, we're going to news. Disclaimer: I'm pretty sure most of y'all won't know some of these topics, but I like to, even if it's like something like small or you might not know, I just like to have a little bit of news, just like maybe just start things that we wouldn't start conversation we wouldn't even think about. So the first thing is, I'm the Evil Lord of the Intergalactic Empire. Anime reveals April 5th TV debut. More cast, theme song, artists, and video. So I picked this out just because this is like one of the few it's kind of the second that I've actually heard of that takes place and seems like in a sci-fi setting. So I thought that was interesting. I'm pretty sure none of y'all heard of it though. Next, this is something you probably did hear about. Fair Fury, City of the Wolves game reveals Kane R. Heinlein and character video. So have y'all played Fair Fury?
I'm not supposed to hear about that. What?
What?
You said Fate of Fury or Fatal Fury?
Fatal Fury.
He said Fatal.
Fatal Fury.
Okay.
Fatal.
I've heard of the Fatal Fury series. I didn't know they were getting a new game.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think I've ever played it personally.
I knew they were working on a new one.
Okay.
I didn't I think I had just heard about the thing dropping, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Next is
How's that going?
next is okay, y'all all know about Evo, right? So the Evo fighting game tournament has revealed its full lineup for Las Vegas. And
I did see that.
Oh, what is it? I haven't seen it.
We have
Okay, they've dropped Smash altogether, first of all.
Oh, oof.
Oh.
Smash has been gone for a minute though. I think Smash was gone since 2 years ago.
Okay, but at this point, I think it's safe to say it's not coming back at least until they drop a new one. Which
I don't even remember the reason why. Oh no, Smash isn't coming back. Smash got dropped because Sony bought Evo. That's why Smash got dropped.
Oh, that makes sense.
Sony bought Evo, so there's no more Smash.
Competitors being involved. Interesting.
Yeah, that's some scummy decisions.
So some of the games
I'm just mad. I don't see Soul Calibur up
so
there.
they have Street Fighter.
That's just me.
Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat 1, I guess the latest Fair Fury game. So that's cool.
They did.
Strive is still up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
Strive has been up there for a while. I think when they first announced that they were dropping Smash, I'm pretty sure they also had Skullgirls that year.
Oh,
which was interesting.
Yeah.
That's a very indie game.
Yeah. Skullgirls actually has a lot of people that play it, surprisingly.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised. Land of the Lustrous manga. This is the next one. Land of the Lustrous manga wins Japanese sci-fi fantasy writers grand prize. Have y'all seen Land of the Lustrous? It was this cool CGI anime, came out like probably 7 years, I guess, by this point.
Define cool CGI anime.
Okay, so
Those words don't usually fit.
it works.
Last CGI anime that I watched that actually like looked kind of decent in any capacity was Ajin. I think that adaptation was Netflix exclusive, and it was a good show.
Are you okay? So either you've seen Trigun Stampede, which is a CGI show.
Oh my goodness, Trigun Stampede is beautiful.
Okay, I think this is made by the same studio, but Studio Orange.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least the anime was. Yeah, this is the manga. Manga's a different story. But like, so I guess I'll give a short synopsis. Land of the Lustrous is basically this civilization of people made of crystals, and they're getting attacked by a group called the Lunarians who come from the moon, supposedly, and they come down, attack these crystal people and break them up into pieces and take them back to the moon, and everybody's getting trained to fight against these crystals, except for one person whose name is called Phos. I think her full description is like Phosphorite, and she's like just terrible in everything. And, like in the show is basically her just trying to survive and not get like shattered and and taken. I mean, it's a very basic description. That's basically the gist of it. Just her struggling at just being like everybody else. And
girl fail made rock.
Yeah. So also the reason it's so good in CGI, I think, is because they're made of crystal. So they're kind of really works well with CGI in that, like, they're not supposed to look human. if that makes sense,
Yeah.
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 It's like how robots look. I'm not sure. This is kind of contentious, I guess, but how robots look really cool in CGI, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just agree. Just in an echo chamber.
Listen, I'm biased, okay?
Yeah. So anyway, it's cool to see this one like a prize. I mean, I've always wanted to like maybe catch up to it, the manga. Next thing, this is the last piece. Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Battle Destiny remastered game releases in English on May 22nd. It's on release on Switch and on Steam too, so that's cool for any Gundam fans.
Nice.
Okay, so we get into the main topic, and the first thing is probably maybe the most, I guess, contentious, is like, how would you define all these different comic genres, or comic? Do you think it really matters that something is a manhwa, manga, or comic, or do you think it's all like same, or you think it's the same thing, or they can't, or does it really does it say a lot about what series is going to be when you know what type of comic it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you asking what constitutes a illustrated piece of work as a comic or manga?
No. I feel like that's too. I mean, I feel like it's really straightforward. Like a manga,
define what differentiates.
So like going forward, when I say comic, I guess I'm talking about English comic because they all mean the same thing, really. I think just comic and just different words for it, different languages.
Right.
They do. But then again, depending on which one you're reading, there's some very specific tropes that are almost exclusive to each one. That makes sense.
So we say there's is a big thing about if you read this particular type of comic, it's going to say a lot about what you could expect from it. Because I could say a different. I could say maybe I'll just say something like manga and manhwa. I feel like there is a distinct feeling if somebody says I'm reading a manhwa instead of I'm reading a manga. I feel like there's I can't guess, but I can kind of tell with some tropes that might appear in the manhwa versus the manga.
There's definitely a difference.
You going ahead?
I'll be honest. For me, the only thing that I expect out of a comic is for at some point the characters that we've seen in movies only deal with human level threats, all of a sudden beating up gods. It usually gets crazy like that.
on that JRPG energy.
I mean, am I wrong? Like, I feel like a lot of movies that are
Every
adapted
Shin
from
Megami and
comics,
Persona game.
yeah, like they just don't like encapsulate how absolutely powerful some of these characters actually are
Yeah.
in their
I think
original
that's what
form.
adds to the joy of comparing certain characters.
Yeah,
Just
it's
the fact that they just do nonsense, and you
yeah,
don't know if that same nonsense would translate to another character.
Yeah.
it's sort of the, forgive me for invoking the name, the death battle effect of like, oh, I've known about this character, and then all of a sudden they, regardless of how you feel about death battle, they will pull info out of places that you did not expect.
Yeah.
Like, even as a Transformers fan, they pulled some shit out on some of those videos that I didn't know about.
I think about like a lot from like the Star Wars perspective.
Star Wars is a natural springboard for talking about comics.
Yeah.
They got their own.
Yeah, because I was going to mention in Star Wars, like when you mentioned how like characters really like normally facing human threats, and then suddenly they can like blow up planets. I was like, oh, that's how it works in Star Wars too.
That is unironically what happens.
Like,
Talks about
Yeah.
Darth Vader going light speed.
Like I prevented a black hole from happening.
you know.
I don't even.
Like
How did the comics get so insane?
I think, okay, and forgive me if this is a bit like insulting to the comic industry as a whole. I think because comics are sometimes like not as viewed as the popular media, they just kind of go like as hard as they want with it, and it just winds up being the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen the like. I don't know what form it is for Darth Vader, but I've seen like the form where he's dual wielding lightsabers, and the man is just, from everything I've heard about him, he is insane. Like the man can go light speed on foot.
I mean, it's the same comic that like had that one like panel that became a meme, where it's like he's got like the entire like army surrounded him, telling him to stand down because he's surrounded. He's just like brandishing his lightsaber.
Yeah.
All I'm surrounded with is fear and dead men.
Yeah. Remember that Death Battle has an episode. I was like, oh, time to see more of the Star Wars comics. Like that's how I read. That's how I read them.
Oh, time to see more of the Star Wars comics. This crazy response to a death battle.
Like it's like they always pull things. I'm like, okay, I know. It's like what was it Kakashi versus Obi-Wan? Like I know from what I've seen with my eyes that Obi-Wan never does anything as crazy as Kakashi does, but like they're going to pull something from the comics that I don't know about, and it's like, okay, now I can see how he can fight this guy.
I wonder how is comic Obi-Wan? Is he broken?
I think that's more the live action adaptations of him, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Speaking of something more I could talk about, I guess, with the manga versus manga. Like, what do you think are some common tropes of manga versus manga that aren't really, or seem more in manga than there are in manga? Because manga, I feel like with manga, in my experience, is like such a mixed bag. I can't really pin it down unless I would have to pigeonhole myself to something like, like battle manga. Like
You said manga versus manga?
Yeah, manga versus manga. Like, what's some common tropes? There was some more common tropes in manga versus manga.
Regression?
Yeah. Pans that. Okay, okay, we gotta explain the term. Like, now everybody might be no. I feel like
That's what I was about to.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. Regression is the act of essentially going back in time because you died. There are many different plot devices that people use for regression. Some have time travel. Some have magic bullshit. There's various different ways of regression. But as long as the three key factors are sort of in the first chapter, you're getting a regression story. The main character has to die. Usually they're full of revenge or resentment. And upon their time travel, they've given like a system of the gods, some way to help them get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
That's only usually, not in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to think of a few popular ones. I think
Did you mention had you mention like a game like the I don't know, like I'm not sure what to call it, but like the dungeon takeover, like the dungeon takeover.
what are you talking about, brother?
Like okay, when like okay, so like in manga there's like a trope like where the like instead of like an isekai where like they go to the world and it's already like a game, it'll be set in modern day and some event will happen that makes like game logic start to apply to real life, and like dungeons will start appearing and like monsters will show up and then people will get powers. Think of like
yeah.
So it's kind of like the like reverse of like the SAO syndrome.
Yeah. So
It's Digimon.
Soul Leveling is like the premier like series for that.
Lemon,
Like,
you're right.
yeah, does that happen in Digimon? Maybe. I don't know.
It happens in Digimon story. The digital world starts to fade into the real world.
Yeah, so that's very common. I've seen a lot of different manga where like it's a normal world, but then something happens. It's also an omniscient reader's viewpoint. It's also something that happens there, where like normal world, then something happens. Usually it's like a very cataclysmic. It causes a lot of disasters when it happens, but then some series they give you time to like they give this world time to adjust. And it becomes like a regular thing. And it's like it's just a character like having to deal with this and like on the ground floor of the event. Yeah, that's one like so yeah, just like the dungeon takeover. What's another one like this? I'm not sure if this is I've granted I've only seen like one, but I feel like this might be a common. Wait a second, that might be a manhwa. I might be diving into manhwa, so I'll say that for later. Anything else you can think of, either dates?
Or manhwa tropes?
Yeah, manhwa trope, like manhwa. Oh, by the way, I feel like we never mentioned it, but manhwa are Korean comics.
Okay, I was going to ask what a manhwa was actually.
So you have three different ones. You have manhwa, WA at the ending, which is Korean. You have yeah, you have.
Well, it's W. It's W.
Some of the most popular ones.
From what I've seen, is WHA.
It's WHA.
If it's
HUA is
Yeah,
Chinese.
it's Chinese, yeah.
And if it's no, that's just two. And if it's GA, that's just manga, which is Japanese.
Yeah.
I wish we had something like that for like North American comics. I guess. Also, have you ever noticed when people refer to the West, or at least like in the anime community, they just talk like, yeah. So you have Japan and like the rest of the world. Like when it comes to the West, it's like
yeah, because they don't know the nuances of like other country like comics.
Yeah. It's like there's like French comics. They're like they could be entirely different from like North America or like North American comics, and it's like I don't know, like you ever heard of Tintin before?
Yeah.
This is a tangent.
The Adventures of Tintin?
Yeah, the Adventures of Tintin. Like that's like like is that grouped into the West? Like is like everything the West like outside Japan and China? It's like
good question.
Like I don't know. It's just
as a red-blooded American, I would like to say that it's all America's and nobody else's.
Okay. So the big difference, obviously,
Yeah.
is that for like the rest of the West, they have comics, COMICS. We in America have comics with an X.
Do we?
See, this is what I'm saying.
We're edgy. We're edgy.
We're going back to the 90s now.
Oh God, can we please?
Oh my God.
For those wondering about popular comics, though, or just some of the most popular stuff to read from the genres, like for comics, I really don't know what you would get into. It would depend on what you like. Comics are more so digestible in the fact that you've probably read something or watched something that has a comic series. If you like Sonic, they have a comic series. If you like Star Wars, they have a comic series. For those of you that remember Slugterra, there's probably a comic series.
Yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot of cartoon tie-in comic book series. Like some of them even continue after the show. I think there's like
like I'm pretty sure like one of the longest one of the longest running, at least for a while, like Western comics was a Sonic one.
That's cool.
Because that single series had been running from the same publisher.
Oh
since
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
90s.
You're talking about the Archie comics, yeah.
Yeah.
I recently got into the IDW comics. I caught up because of the Year of Shadow. I was just like, oh no, it'd be
Let's
cool.
go.
But like before I watched the movie, I'll catch up to the comics. That'd be cool. And I got, because every time I would see it mentioned, I was like, it was always this thing of like, oh, that's weird. I mean, it kind of thought it was weird. I was like, in the weird sense, like, I was like, I never thought to like look up comic books for like an established franchise I really liked. You know, I never thought that never came to mind before. But I saw people recommend it, saw people saying it was really good. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's that time, you know, to give it a shot, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So I think I wish there was more like advertising, I don't know, or publicity for these kind of comics books, because you really don't see it unless you're like, I guess, in that space.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't see anything for Transformers comics at all. You know.
I mean, like, I'll say this: comics don't get a lot of advertising in general. Like, the most I ever see is like webtoons advertisements on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't even, Webtoons is this whole bad. That's this whole other thing. I didn't even think about that.
I
But
was
yeah.
not ready to dive into
Yeah,
that
but
rabbit hole.
Webtoon.
Well, we're not gonna.
You just unlock the vault of stuff. Man. That could be like, because like Webtoon. I mean, if it comes to comics books, like English based comic books, Webtoon is probably where I
that
would
vault
read.
and no intent to jump into it.
Yeah, Webtoon is probably where like I've experienced most of that. Like with Webtoons, like Webtoon Line is a really good place for them. But yeah, so like but you know, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about manhwa. You didn't have anything more chosen manhwa, did you? You dates?
For manhwa or manhwa?
Manhwa.
Korean or Japan?
Manhwa, because I remember
Okay.
we lit with the manhwa. We listed like Regression and like Dungeon Takeover. And
Manhwa has a lot of tropes, but those tropes can sometimes make it easier to dive into other manhwa if you start out with the right one.
Yeah.
A lot of people would start with something like Solo Leveling. It's 200 chapters. It's not extremely long, and it's very popular. There's the anime right now, so like it's a very good one to dive into. If you like fantasy, you know, you don't necessarily have to watch it for like the present. You can watch it for fantasy. They have
a lot of
other manga with knights and stuff. It's a very mixed bag, like all of these.
Yeah, there's also a
It's
lot
never
of
gonna focus on
a lot
one thing.
of training too in there as well. Like they go on training journeys.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to. Well, that's something also that's in manhwa as well.
I think that the idea of a training journey is just a common storytelling trope, though. Especially for like fantasy action.
When I'm
series.
thinking manga they don't really go on training journeys. Usually, if somebody if somebody goes on like a training arc, they're usually in one place. They don't like I'm thinking of series like Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece, where they don't really go on training journeys. They like train in one place.
If I remember right, the training journey, there is one in Naruto, and then they just time skip over it because they decided that wasn't interesting.
Yo,
enough.
if that was manga, even you can attest to this. If that was manga, that would have been a large part of the manga right there. That 2-year time skip, right?
It would have. No, that would have skipped it.
No. Like think of some of the series read where like the character is just training, like beginning after end, when he was going on a training journey like his adventure.
Yeah, but we still gotta skip then.
Yeah, we got some skips, but
We
got to see him going as an adventure, and that was all just to get stronger.
Yeah, that was just because of an event though. Something that was very important to the story happened in that event.
Yeah, but the whole arc was just about him. Like, it was about him training. He was doing that to get stronger.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I'm just saying, it won't be all boring. I mean, it won't be just like the training. There will be like they'll go on a journey to training, but it won't be the only thing they do. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Something shows up to make it
Yeah.
more than just working on your
Soul Leveling,
fundamentals.
yeah, Soul Leveling is like that too, where like a large part of the story, it's not like a training journey because like that's like a lot of the series is him, but he's the main point is him. He just wants to get stronger. Oh, and along the way he finds different stuff he wants to do alongside getting stronger. But yeah, we can move on to like manhwa now. These are Chinese comics, and
As for manhwa, I'm not really well versed in manhwa. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if Fall Kill the Five Elements have a manhwa. Do they?
I don't know. I know I might be a little bit more familiar with manhwa, but only just a little bit. I read this series called Soul Land. I think the like Chinese name is Da Lu Da La. Apparently it has a lot of themes in there. Is common in other ones from little stuff I've seen in other ones, where I think one common trope is like the idea that cultivation is a big trope in those kind of things. I mean, it's also in the beginning, I think, but like I feel like it comes a lot from here, where like characters like a science to getting stronger. Like I know a series like Power Stone, yeah, but like there's like a really like deep like there's like grades to like how much you can increase your body's level, and you can use pills to like make yourself stronger as well. It even goes into how like you meditate to like gather energy into your body in order to progress to the same level. Like imagine like a video game, but they take away all the video game aspect, and it's just like more like a martial arts thing.
Yeah, that is kind of a cultural holdover.
Yeah. It's a very strong. It's very strong emphasis.
Chinese inspired like stories is that, especially in other countries, you'll see storytelling that might revolve around like a special like item or like weapon that has its own power that makes someone strong.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's a whole lot more of like an emphasis on like that like internal cultivation, like not just like physical like training to get stronger, but also like kind of a spiritual sense.
Yeah, like refining your soul too.
Yeah. A lot of that kind of gets glanced over when you translate it to like Japanese like manga and stuff, but you can still see like some of the inspiration to that, especially in like specific martial arts like based series. But a lot of that tends to come from like Chinese tropes.
Yeah, that's a big one. Something you might not expect is auctions. Auctions are very important in these kind of stories as well, because as I mentioned before, pills are a big thing about how you can increase your power, and like you always, it feels like you can always count on there being a one auction they need to go to find a special like cultivation item that they need to get to like the next level, so they can fight the clan head of that person, the clan head that they angered because they were. I'm getting very specific with this, but yeah, like they angered the clan head because like they were weak, but they actually turned out to get this revenge and makes them a little bit stronger. It's a whole deal.
Now, when you say auction, do you mean like the kind where you just go to a place and like raise your hand when you're raising your bid on an item, or like what?
Yes, it's very normal. It's very normal. Like surprisingly normal. That is what happens.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Because, like, as I said before, like, it's a science. Like they have medicine to increase your strength, special items that can increase your strength. It's not just training, and people in these, there's usually a big thing also in manhwa is clans. There's a lot of clans where like you're not just by yourself. You got a whole family, and the whole family is trying to get stronger as a group. Like they're all martial artists.
Yeah. Very. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Oh yeah, but is also I didn't mention before, but like I don't know the difference, but like apparently, what I've been subscribed so far is just one particular type of manhwa is like wuxia and zengxia. I'm not sure what the difference between the two is, but I've heard those terms a lot. It's like the cultivar version.
Wuxia.
Yeah, wuxia
Wuxia.
and jingxia, like those
It's that
like
that's
like yeah, like imagine medieval knights, but like that's their version of that kind of genre, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
like typical like wuxia is kind of like the Chinese answer to like medieval fantasy when you think about it. It's but except like, usually you have a lot more what I can more easily describe as like old west
yeah.
experience. Like usually like the main character doesn't just like stay in one place. They're usually kind of something of a drifter. They're
Mm-hmm.
usually some kind of like, noble morality.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then of course they're always without fail really good at martial arts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like like it's like maybe one of these times if I took some time to prepare, I could give you like a list, like real quick, of like places to start in that genre. If any of you are interested,
Oh.
because it's not that stuff isn't just comics. That stuff came out of like written novels too.
Mm.
So you could have entire like entire like chapter books
Yeah.
out here
Yeah.
written exactly about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. This might just be me and my experience, but they seem like they're incredibly long too. And it's like, and I was like, how does this have so many chapters? Like, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just a gist of
I'm
my experience.
I'm sh- it's like I'm sure if you're coming over from other like comic mediums, that's not necessarily like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because
You said and was quiet. I don't know what's wrong.
I just thought he was going to say something else.
no, I made my point.
Okay. So we've gone over manga. So interesting. I feel like it's kind of weird how manga can just be defined by like what it isn't. I guess like we know like we got some general tropes for manga and we got some general tropes for like manhwa, but it's probably because we've seen so many stuff based on manga. We can't really pin down any specific tropes unless we go down to like a specific genre of manga. You know, because I have such a broad view of it. But man, yeah, okay. This is just a joke. This is something I know. So yeah, if like Europe, like their thing is like when they go back in the past, what they like make stories out of is like medieval times with knights and like dragons, and then you have like like China. They go back to like a time like with like and they like make stories about like legendary martial artists. And then you have Japan, which makes stories about medieval Europe. Wait, what? Like, you ever notice that? Why are there so many isekai based on medieval like Europe?
I mean, I
I mean,
think just
to be fair,
in general,
some of the most popular like pieces of Japanese media are unmistakably Japanese, like in their influence.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
come back to this idea. I want to let Lemon make his point though.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I mean, there are a lot of like interesting stories just out of Europe as a whole, but I also think like it's just like in some ways interesting to write about cultures that that you may have experienced before but aren't necessarily like from.
Yeah, but I don't see this at such a
That
level
is-
in other countries. Like
I do
if
agree with that.
like if I'm reading a Japanese fantasy story, I'm going to expect it to be like have like elves and other like fantasy
That's-
or like in dragons,
that-
like others, like that kind of fancy stuff. I'm going to expect it to be in like
that is fair.
a Japanese fantasy story, which is it's like nobody really thinks about it. But I don't really expect samurai in my Japanese fantasy story. If you just name, if you were to just mention one to me, it's like
That is fair, but that said, like, I find it's like, but those series are generally not as popular as Naruto,
I mean,
and I think that's a case right there.
I mean, you have a full point, but then they have One Piece, so it's just like it's like it's like one of the most popular manga,
Okay, but piracy is a universal idea, though.
Yeah, everyone loves pirates.
You know,
Like,
yeah, you
literally,
have a point. You have a point.
That's how most Japanese martial arts happened, is through like oceanic like trade and stuff,
Yeah.
and by extension, people like picking stuff up from each other, and pirates also stealing it.
But
Eventually, you just get that stuff.
But, no, I don't want to say counterpoint. But yeah, I mean, you have a point. You have a point. There's a lot of Japanese things, like Bleach. Bleach is heavily based on Japanese mythology with the Shinigami, and that is one of the more popular series. I could probably think of some more. I mean, Death Note, another one, Shinigami. There is a lot, but there's a lot of them. But then there's other ones like Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga, where it's just like very different cultures. Right, like most of the characters have like English names or like none, or like at least non-Japanese names. Names based in the West is more like based on that region of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going anywhere more. I just noticed that like Japanese put a lot of focus on other cultures besides their own when it comes to compared to others. But it might just because of how big anime and manga industry is, or they're trying to appeal to like the whole world.
I think that touches onto that, and it kind of has made this interesting effect of other countries trying to copy that style, and so it creates like this loop.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about
it's really fun to see it happen.
you're saying that, I've thought about it. Like 90% of the manhwa I've read is just it takes place in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few that I've read that takes place in like fictional sort of places, but the majority that I read usually take place in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, makes sense.
I feel like a lot of anime or manga I read take place in Japan too, unless it's isekai. Then it takes place, in a different world. Of course.
Yeah,
I rarely see manga that take place in Japan.
Really?
Like I think Kagurabachi is one of the few that I'm reading. Kagurabachi and Loser Ranger are the two that I'm reading that actually take place in Japan. But that's it.
Okay, when I was reading, I just thought about Black Clover is another one where it's like a completely different culture is based on. But I was also thinking My Hero Academia, which takes place in Japan. So it's like it's not like
Hero. I think Bleach still does.
it's not like it's crazy like Japan, they don't represent their culture at all in their media, but it's like they do represent a lot of other cultures too a lot. It's like I would say
shout out to JJK.
It's like
yeah.
It goes like hands in hand. Like for every My Hero Academia you get like a Black Clover and vice versa.
How did we talk about manga series that take place in Japan and not mention JJK or Chainsaw Man for that matter?
I mean,
shout out to Chainsaw Man. Yeah, I forgot about Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. I'm saying they do take place in Japan. But,
and I feel like Chainsaw Man, they say it's Japan. Do they say it's Japan?
I think
so. Even though they say it's Tokyo, I don't believe it's Tokyo. They have some nonsense going on in that manga.
And I have no idea where One Punch Man takes place. I gotta be honest with you. City Z and City A.
OPM just has cities.
Yeah.
It's still Japanese, I'm pretty sure.
I'm willing to accept that Chainsaw Man takes place in Tokyo because I was able to buy into the idea that Bleach, is still in Japan.
Yeah.
I can't, because the amount of nonsense in Chainsaw Man is just. I feel like it's the equivalent of just everyone has to be Bob the Builder, bro. They destroy stuff so much, and then buildings just get rebuilt like instantly, and I'm just like, this can't be a real place. Like, I mean, we didn't get. I guess we touched on comics a bit. I don't like American or like just Western comics, but like
Well, here's something I wondered if you had considered. What about comic strips?
I did not think about that. But like I am familiar with like with about two maybe. I know about the Garfield comic strip. I've only like seen the stuff that has derived from the comic strips probably.
There's a lot of variety in comic strips, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it changes depending on where you live as well. Because when I was growing up, I'd never heard about Rose's Rose, which is apparently a really good one.
Man, comic strips just feel so comforting. I don't know. It's just like, oh man, you get the newspaper in the mail, and then you just, I mean, or not the mail. Well, I don't know anything about newspapers.
Well, that was correct actually. You did get the newspaper in the mail.
You got the. Did you get? Okay, so anyway, you get.
Yes.
How did that?
Did you wonder
I
how
think you had to
get
subscribe
newspapers?
to it, but you could get newspapers in the mail.
Okay. I'm trying to think when I would get newspapers, it usually was like a random thing. It was like, oh, there's a random. I see a newspaper. I'm like, oh, I might get it. It'd be like a store, inside at the register. And you're like, I'm already here. I might as well get it. See what's like. Might be something interesting on the top of it. I guess I'm not sure. Maybe in some communities they actually deliver them to your doorstep. I mean, that sounds so weird. Now I'm thinking, Egypt was just how does that work? They just throw it in your.
They just put them in your mailbox.
Paper boys.
Okay, they put them in your mailbox.
There's still paper boys.
Maybe all the cartoons I watch made me think they just actually throw them on your lawn.
I mean, I think that's like sort of I don't even know if that's still really a thing.
Yeah.
Because like as far as I know, like newspapers are delivered by mail.
Anyway, we're talking about delivery system. Let's talk about comic strips. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I do agree with the point of like it's comforting. It's sort of just like reminiscent of a nostalgic time for me because I used to cut out the comic strips from the newspapers that I liked and put them in like a quote unquote scrapbook. And by that I mean I taped them to a notebook.
That's valid though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's very nostalgic and also, but as I've gotten older, I've discovered ones that I'd never heard of before, like Heathcliff, which is one of the strangest ones I think I've ever read. It's like it's not quite Garfield, but it is about an orange cat. And he gets up to some wacky stuff.
Okay.
Classic.
So all these Silver, have you seen a lot of manhwa or just like Xingxia or Wuxia in general?
Like I like to think that I keep myself abreast of like the wuxia genre.
Okay. So do we all have like our favorite genre? I mean, not genre. I guess just like comic type. I'll call them comic types. So, like I feel like I would say manga is my favorite type.
I'd still lean towards other types, like still being my favorite, just because they're more personally familiar.
Yeah.
But like, it's something that I feel confident in speaking on, and like generally what it does.
Okay.
I generally enjoy manga sometimes, but I feel more comfortable with like Western comics personally, just as a whole.
I think
that is fair. Like Japanese, like manga tend to have some quirks about them.
I was speaking more on like a home front standpoint.
Oh, fair enough. That also could play into it.
I'm reading a lot of manhwa right now, but I'm like manga is probably still my favorite.
I mean, like most of my favorite stories are from manga, I think. But yeah, so I mean that was the gist of the conversation. Like I feel like we've definitely pinned down some tropes from different comics, comic types. So like, if you're interested in those, you can check them out. I was also kind of throughout like comic strips. I did not think about comic strips, but yeah, that's interesting.
Like if we wanted to we wanted to really hit it, like the way that Lemon like pointed that out too. if you wanted to be really like technical about it, like like I assume we all have a fairly similar definition of what makes something a comic strip as opposed to any other kind of comic.
I mean, I imagine it's just like it's it's attached to some kind of newspaper or some kind of other kind of like other media, it's like that kind or I imagine. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have a good idea. I don't have a good idea, but it's just I imagine it's just something that's it's not a book. It's not the whole book. It's like just a part.
But it's like a much shorter like bit of story.
Well, which reminds me of have you ever heard of 4 Because manga has this thing was. Do you know about 4
Yeah, I've heard.
Okay, so it's
I know
like
about it.
it's like one manga panel, I think, but no, not one manga panel. It's like one manga page, and it'll tell a complete story with like with I think 4 panels, and it's like I think it's like read like left. I think it's like left. I think go left and it's left to right, but it's like only 4 panels, and that tells like a short story in just that one page. That's I think that's what 4 is. Oh, that's 4 too. Yeah, 4 panels.
That's literally something I was about to bring up. Is like, oh, technically that's a comic strip.
That is exactly a comic strip. Most comic strips operate on a 4-panel basis.
Wow.
Sometimes 3, and on Sundays you get special long ones in color.
Yeah. Because like so 4 are like comic strips, but without like the idea of them being attached to newspapers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you could literally just like split one of those 4 like pages in half, so that it's just one story, and then put that in a newspaper, and that matches the definition like to the letter.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess there's definitely like there's common not what I'm looking for. There's definitely distinctions between all the different types, but like they're more similar than we can think of sometimes.
Yeah, there's like we put a lot of like arbitrary definitions on what like some of these comics can like be, but then there ends up being just so much like overlap.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Like I kind of operate on the basis of if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a skinwalker and you should run. But otherwise, it's a comic.
Yeah. But yeah, I think does anybody else have any like points to bring up?
If we're just like doing points on like defining like what types of comics there are, I don't really have anything at this point.
Okay, all right.
Like the best I could do is like start putting together like examples of these ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, examples of this. I feel like when it comes to like just like talking about different types and like explaining them and our view of them, I feel like we have a pretty good idea. I think I know. I think I kind of know where I stand on all these now. I feel like I didn't know at first. Now I'm like, like they're all kind of different. I'm glad everybody has like the same view of how them.
Wait,
huh?
Did you not think they were different before we started?
No, it's more like my view was just like they were all different, but like I didn't know if everybody was like in the same about like the same similar tropes, or was it would be like I would find out like, oh no, they're wildly different, and or they're wildly similar, and all these tropes are just stuff I saw,
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, like, I'm sure there's something there in regards to like some of the like differentiating tropes between manga, comics, manga, all that. But at the end of the day, the one thing that they all have in common. What did I just say?
You know, nobody would notice. Nobody would notice we hadn't brought it up.
Everyone would have noticed. It's the internet.
Have some confidence for a change.
I am having confidence. I'm confident that people will notice. So,
Okay,
Okay.
I guess.
what I was gonna say, the one thing that they all have in common is that they all have panels, and they're all typically pretty fun to read, and usually have some very, very interesting art.
Okay.
And I think that is the most beautiful and unifying thing about it.
I can't think of anything better to end the iPhone. I mean, I think
I'm gonna
that's.
give this man a fucking Pulitzer.
Thank you.
I think this has been a great. I
unifying
think this
thing
has
of
been a great
every
conversation, and it was
comics.
really cool.
Sick art.
It was really cool to talk about comics because I've been thinking about that for a while. So this has been a good one, and I'll see you on the next one, travelers.
Wait, hold on. Can I end this on a recommendation?
Sure.
Go check out the new Transformers comics, the ones that are the Skybound ones. What is the company that's producing these? Hold on, I have it in my hand.
Is it not IDW anymore?
It's not IDW anymore.
Okay.
Surprisingly. Okay, well, I'm seeing logos. You'll find it. Energon Universe Transformers. Check it out. It's
Okay.
really interesting and kind of dark and gritty, actually, in some places.
Oh,
Cool.
don't like this. I think, with the exception of like the Bay films, you don't expect dark and gritty as a tone for Transformers.
You'd be shocked.
All right.
Read the IDW ones too. You'll find some interesting stuff.
I have no doubt it's something they're capable of doing. It's just you don't see it coming.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Do you have any recommendations, Silver Tiger?
Not at the moment, but but one of these days I should actually come back and have a more dedicated discussion on like the wuxia like genre with you guys.
Oh yeah. I
'Cause
feel
by
like I
that-
definitely do
because
more
if-
research.
Oh,
Look into
absolutely.
it.
And like by that point, I'll definitely have some recommendations for you guys to like hit up. Because there's some really cool stuff out there if you're willing to look.
Alright. Well,
But side
What about you, Mav? Any recommendation?
recommendations.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I probably recommend Soul Land. I think that was a really good series. It has like 4 different series out when I like hopped off the train, but I remember it being pretty good. Yeah, I mean you can check it out. It's cool.
And for me, I would probably recommend for
Oh, so by the
manga,
way, Soul Land
either-
is a manhwa. It's a manhwa.
Yeah, Korean. Right?
Chinese.
Chinese.
Oh, sorry.
Hua is
sorry.
Chinese.
Yes, I just couldn't hear the distinction when Maverick said that.
I would probably have to recommend something like One Punch Man, or that time I got reincarnated as a slime for manga. And if you just want to read some manhwa because it has color, or manhwa, but simply because manhwa has color, you could probably check out Solo Leveling, one of the most popular manhwas. There's surprisingly an Assassin's Creed manhwa out right now on Assassin's Creed 4, which is cool. They have Edward
Ooh.
Kenway.
Ooh, if we're gonna go into like adaptations of stuff, I know that manhwa, like the Chinese, that back in like the 80s they did their own adaptation of Star Wars.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's now I really kind of have to come back to this particular like topic discussion with you guys, because like I'll need to do a little research to give you guys a better talk, but this is genuinely like there's some cool stuff here.
Yeah. But the last thing I would recommend for manhwa is probably Infinite Mage. It's cool. It's geniuses. That's all I can really explain it as. A bunch of geniuses.
Is it trying to do like the Death Note thing?
No,
Of, like-
no, not
Okay.
mad
okay,
genius.
Oh, okay.
They're just
checking.
geniuses.
I'll see you on the next one, travelers.
Adios. What the hell?
I just wanted to say goodbye.